Hello everyone, and welcome to another Chill Sunday stream. We have here the messenger. I'm just going to unpause so we get some music and then give people some time to make their way in. How's everybody doing today? I see Cyrus, welcome. How are you doing today? Merchants, I hope you are having a lovely Sunday, and Jalix, glad to see you here and hope your day is going well. Also, everybody remember Top Chat and Live Chat are two different things. Glad to hear it's going okay, Jalix. I do love this music. This soundtrack is... This soundtrack is something I do work to. Game feed started a bit later than planned. What do you mean by that, Jalix? Oh, yeah, I skipped past the main menu directly to the game. Might lose music for a second because I want to post this up on Twitter very quickly that we're going live, or that we are live. It seemed a little abrupt to you. I could fix that for next week then. Also, Jaguar, I don't know if I said hi to you. If not, welcome. Music might cut out for a second. Yeah, it automatically pauses when I leave that. Just gonna throw this up on Twitter and give us a couple of minutes so people can make their way in. No worries, no worries. Too many characters, dang. Okay. It is kind of like an action platformer. Yeah, that is exactly what this is. Generous. Okay, and we should have music again now. Cool. I'm just gonna give people another minute, and then we'll get moving into the game. So just as a recap, so everyone's caught up to speed, the Demon King showed up in our village, and we were rescued by the Western hero, who passed us a message that we have to take to the top of the mountain, hopefully to stop the Demon King. That is the quest that we've been laid with. So we are this little guy here, the messenger. This is the shop, where the shopkeep has an interdimensional portal and likes to tell us stories. And when we go back out into the world, we are here. And last time we acquired the ability to jump up walls. So, I think we're ready to go. So now we can actually make it up this wall and get past this jump. What do you like about the concept, Jaguar? Also, we can now slash projectiles, which honestly makes the game so much better. You might have missed the beginning of last week. It's in the VOD if you want to check it out. Jaguar, you're lagging? I hope that's not everybody experiencing like a lag thing. Okay. Jaguar, it might indeed be your device. Oh, I love that. When you go underwater. I actually really love when video games do that, where they change the dynamic of the music. You like the use of time and how they use the graphics to play with it? Yeah, that is a mechanic we'll be seeing, hopefully by the end of today. So we're just making our way through the Autumn Hills. Oh no, the music in this game is just so fantastic. Also, in the interest of everybody, if I don't get a death before a certain part in the game, I will be letting myself die for plot purposes, because you can actually skip a portion of the plot if you don't die by a certain point. So death is actually an important part of this game. Okay, glad to hear the new browser works, merchants. Yeah, this game covers a lot of meta stuff about video games as a whole, but also does it in a way that weaves it into its own story. So things like dying, things like the tropes of video games are really brought into it. No, I can groove to this music, merchants. Like, I feel you. This music is, like I said before, something I do work to. Oh yeah, Jalix, actually that's a really good point to bring up. Like, the medium of video games has so much in its capacity to tell stories, and I love video games that play with the full extent of that, beyond just being the same thing as, say, books. There's a symbol on the wall back here, if you can see that, and if you go this way, we have a secret tunnel. And if we go over here, there's an artifact. Speaking of slapping, apparently we just slapped and punched that green token. So it seems you're one to wander off the beaten path. What was that big green object? Oh, you mean that thing you just smashed instead of collecting? It's a power seal. There are many others like it. Like this one, but to be honest, I'm not really sure what they do. I can tell you that finding them all is optional, but if you're that kind of adventurer that likes to go for the extra challenge, you'll want to keep an eye out for hidden runes. And who knows, it may or not unlock an overpowered upgrade. Also, welcome, Zero. I'm happy to have you here, and I hope your Sunday is going well. I'll be in my shop. So we found a secret, and there's another one down here, actually. I don't know if people can see it at the bottom of the screen, because I might be in the way. Actually, that's something that I didn't think about. Where I'm positioned on camera, I can actually go behind myself. I'm wondering if I should move where I'm positioned. Give me one moment. I am now moving to the top of the screen. How's that? It scrolls most of the time, but there's not really going to be action on the top right of the screen. There's going to be action on the bottom right of the screen. Yeah, I'd rather cover up, like, the money counter than anything else. Let's try that. Actually, now I'm blocking this part of the action. I could also shrink my camera a little bit. Let's try bottom left. Is that better? Well, you all let me know if there's a part of the screen that might be better. Also, I'm doing pretty good, King Cyrus. I hope you're doing well as well. And we can go back to the shop. Story time! Chat. Tell us about the boss. Looks like you're almost at the end of the area. Did I forget to mention there's a giant leaf monster guarding the exit? You did. That look on your face. Don't worry, my dear adventurer. Leaf monsters only come out during a full moon. Oh, is it a full moon right now? Yes. Oh, that's, I didn't mean to. Well, good luck. What ability can we get? I'm gonna want that soon. I don't care about this. I don't use the shuriken that much. Health upgrade could be useful. Get that, and we'll get second wind. The shopkeeper in this game is the absolute best character. Oh look, it's a leaf monster. Oh god, it's been so long since I fought this thing. I don't want to die to the first boss. There we go. For some reason you pictured a giant leaf that was a monster and not a monster made of many leaves. That's fair. Welcome to the second stage, the Forlorn Temple, where the game starts to subvert your expectations. Give me money. Well, that bridge clearly looks like it's gonna collapse, and did I die? Nope. Stage 3, the Catacombs. You do not get to go to the Forlorn Temple. Oh, you scared me. I thought you were an undead. What kind of creature are you? You've never seen a Phobican before? Phobican? We're a tribe of builders, technically very hardworking, but every one of us is cursed by a unique fear which we are named after. What's your name? Necro. Necro? So you feared the dead and somehow ended up in the catacombs. Ironic, isn't it? I fell while trying to repair the temple ruined above, and was instantly paralyzed by all this morbidity. Anyway, thanks for snapping me out of it. I really should get back to work. So, there are multiple Phobikins that we need to save before we can go to the Forlorn Temple. Because the bridge is broken. This game also has one of the most fluid mechanics I've ever seen with in terms of like movement and the ability to control your character. Yeah, the second area really wasn't the second area. They kind of like played with the idea that you're expecting to just go into the second area and then you fall right into the actual second area. Ah, look, it is our villain. I need the actual swim ability. Shop. Thank you. Story time. After upgrade. I need current master. Thank you. Chat time. Current area. Hey, you made it to the catacombs. Okay, anything I should know? Not really, it's pretty standard stuff. Skeletons, and bats. Oh, evil wizards too? You bet, a necromancer even took over. Spooky. Cliched. I suggest you get this area out of the way. There are more original ones lined up. What do you do here? I study magic. Can you teach me? Not really. Why not? Because you're not ready. Ready for what? For magic. Come on, you just asked. No, but I meant... Believe me, learning magic is a lot harder than following a conversation. I love that. I love the humor. I love the back and forth between the... You would have picked a lich instead of a necromancer. That's fair. But you'll see why it's a necromancer. I love the back and forth between the shopkeeper and the messenger that goes on through this game. Any stories to share? Of course, here's one for you. There once was a poor old lady who had nothing in life, save for a small shack and a pear tree. Her name was Madame Misery. Her whole family ate misery, and sometimes there wasn't even enough misery to go around. One day, she was visited by a starving beggar, who asked whether she had any food to spare. She didn't, but her heart was as big as her situation was unfortunate. So she served the beggar a few clumps out of the tasteless broth she had simmering, then invited him to help himself to a few pears. The beggar removed his cloak, revealing himself as a deity. He was disguised as a beggar to see whether there was any kindness left in the world. Touched by Madame Misery's generosity, he offered to grant her a wish. Let me guess, she didn't want anything and it's immoral about living frugally? No, this is good, let me continue. She mentioned a lot of people were stealing her fruits, which jeopardized her chance to eat every day. Her wish was simple, an enchantment on her pear tree so that it would trap anyone who stole from it unless she decided to free them. The divine visitor granted her wish and took his leave. Time went by and she scolded many thieves, but soon realized that most of them were starving children. She decided to take it upon herself to feed and educate them, and soon became a pillar of a thriving new generation. Ever happy and generous, Madame Misery got so old that her face looked like an elephant's knee. And then one day, death came for her. Death, following the protocol, inquired about her last request. "I would like to eat one last pear from my tree," she said. "Would you be kind enough to grab one for me?" Death climbed into the tree and grabbed a pear, getting trapped in the process. The old lady decided to never let Death out of the trap, and since then, there has been misery in the world. The end. Right? What's the moral? Being selfless justifies being selfish later? Generosity begets misery? I don't know, it's a fairy tale for kids. I just thought the idea of Death trapped in a pear tree was interesting. It is wittingly meta. There's also something to keep in mind with these stories. If you pay attention to certain aspects of the background, and I don't know where all the Easter eggs are, but you can actually find the stories. There's actually an area in the game where you can find Death attached and bound to a pear tree in the background. And it's one of these things where the game's stories actually are things that happened in the game world. And you're actually hearing the narratives and stories kind of mythologized about what happened. And to me, it plays with the medium of visual storytelling very well. Oh, we got our spoopy skeletons. Oop, secret area. Also, that upgrade I got allows me to hurricane swim underwater. Let me just... Okay, I see. Punch it! Because punching rare artifacts you find on the ground in mysterious caves is definitely the thing to do. Also, what's this down here? Keep this area in mind. All the best archaeologists punch the artifacts they find. Oh, absolutely. That's how you treat historical artifacts. I can't wait till I get the main upgrades for the game because I am literally trying to do moves I don't have. And it's one of these things where if you've played through the game once, even if you do like a new game plus, you can use those moves from the beginning of the game. So it just kind of feels awkward not to have them. So yeah, this music is just... I'm gonna be talking about this music a lot. Oh, we have another visit from our necromancer friend. So those spikes are definitely gonna try to kill me. I'm hoping that we can get to a certain point in this game today, because it would just be nice to get to the part of the punchline of this game. The origin of Sub-Zero is what we're playing here. It very well could be. Forgot how big these catacombs were. Here we are. Upgrade serendipitous bodies. And... do I want to go for Path of Resilience, or do I want to go for Meditation? Probably go for Meditation first. Oh, I forgot to talk to him about the boss. Chat. I believe you have reached the Necromancer's doorstep. Any advice? Very little is known about this villain, so no advice. Dodging anything that looks like evil magic would probably be a good start. I love the humor. Wow, great help. Well, I also recommend looking at my inventory for any useful upgrades. I really appreciate all the support. Look, the Necromancer's a newcomer. All we know for now is that he plans on taking over the world with his undead army. All we know? Sorry, I meant I. All I know. I'm totally on my own here. Who's we? Oh, here we go. Necromancer time. And with this army of the undead, everyone will soon fear the mighty Roxton. What now? We have a visitor. I don't have time for visitors. Well, he seems to have time for you. Oh, great. Just when you think we're gonna get to play with your evil lab. Do I have to remind you who's in charge here? Now say something threatening and try not to embarrass us like you did last time. Oh, I've been practicing. Watch this. Subverting expectations for the win. I'm glad you appreciate that, Jaguar. I firmly believe that part of it is sharing in the experience of reading the text. Ruxton is a dumb name. That's very judgmental of you, Zero. Who dares enter my lair? I don't even call this guy Ruxton, I call this guy Skeletor. Oh yeah, me too, Cyrus. That was frustrating. Uh-oh, is that the messenger? Looks like it. What do we do? Steal the scroll, of course. Good plan. In guard, face the mighty might of Ruxton the Great. There we go. Second boss down. I yield. Wait, I don't. It's over. This evil thing is clearly not working out for us, no matter how many skulls we slap onto ourselves. Any suggestions then? I'm listening. I don't know, just something else. Like what? Introspection would be a good start. What has all this brought us, really? Ridiculous, I'm sticking to evil. Oh yeah? And how are you going to accomplish anything if I'm not carrying you? Well, I could. Yeah, that's a good point, actually. It's almost like with capitalism, where if you don't have the workers carrying the wealth of the bosses on their backs, the bosses can't do anything on their own. It's settled then. Carry on, messenger. We promise not to cause the world any harm. Merchant says this is a perfect game to watch in bed. Reminds me of watching Mega Slime Entertainment Zone, Matt from Thought Slime video on my bedtime playlist. Yeah, I could see that. It definitely seems like Thought Slime's type of thing, and I'm glad that you enjoy that. Though, I'm not sure that's the appropriate name for Thought Slime anymore, based on recent video. So I'm just going to continue to call Thought Slime until we find out more. Zero says, be a chill wizard that brings people cake. That would be awesome. No worries. I don't think, this is one of my favorite songs. Hold up. Gotta let this play. This music is the best. I'm not sure of the details, King Cyrus. More or less, Thought Slime mentioned a different preferred name and had a botched coming out experience with a video that got deleted. So we're supposed to find out next week the full details of it. So we're kind of in this limbo state where they have simultaneously let us know that there's something to look forward to, and that we should kind of go about pretending it didn't happen. So I'm just gonna go with Thought Slime for now, until I, out of respect for that. Tara, you could just work on getting the server at Chill Wizard that brings us cake. It comes up rather frequently. I'm just worried the cake would be a lie. You know? Need anything? Chat with me. Bamboo Creek, that must be a sight for sore eyes after your trek in the catacombs. Sure is. Do make the best of it. This place is as close to a day off as you'll get on this adventure. I'll try. I just didn't know something so cheerful existed. Heh. I guess that says more about your mindset than about the world. Ooh, I love that. It's just an interesting back and forth with that idea. Do we create the world around us in terms of our own mindsets on some level, or is the world itself experiencing things already? Like, how does that work? And especially when we combine all of our perspectives. See, like, it surface level touches on some of these interesting philosophical points as well, that I think people can choose whether or not they want to engage with, or they can just play the game. And I think that's a good design choice, honestly. Whether you agree with it or disagree with it, the idea that that back and forth is happening within a video game, I think is very useful. What are these crystals I'm collecting? We're asking about what the currency is. So you're a touch the unidentified magic object first and ask questions kind of guy. Ask questions later kind of guy. They're time shards. I can use them to augment your abilities. How does it work? Exactly the way we've been doing it so far. You select what you want and give me the required amount of shards so I can do my thing. I meant the spell itself. It's complicated, but I'm curious, and I'm busy. Story time. Zero's learning to make cheesecake, and then you'll learn magic? Absolutely heroic. Do you have any stories to share? Of course I do, but now is not the time. Why not? You're in the Bamboo Creek. This is as sunny as it gets in this here cursed world. So I suggest you take the opportunity to play outside. Bye now. Music is so good. It really was. Do I want to get the next health grade, or do I want to get the shuriken next? Oh, the trees are gorgeous. Like, this environment is really well designed. I also love the fact that this game is such a good callback that, like, pixel art design and like a Ninja Gaiden game, but accessible. Oh, here we go. This is where I wish I had the shurikens. It's like the only enemy in the game that I use it on. Am I supposed to go left or right? I think I'm supposed to go right. But there's money over here, so. Also, these checkpoints are so well designed. The design on this game is really, really great. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. You need 43 power seals to open the chest. We have 2 of them so far. Ooh, I have just enough for the health upgrade. Let's do that. So next we'll go up the shuriken line to meditation. Oh, everything in this game is just practically flawless. The DLC has some issues, which we'll see if I get to. What are the upgrade options? I couldn't see any of the text. Oh, I had the choice between a health upgrade and upgrading and getting shurikens as an alternate weapon. But I can read that off next time I go into the shop. And Medusa heads. If anybody's ever played Castlevania and knows what a Medusa head is, you know why these enemies are some of the most infuriating enemies in all of video gaming. That arc of movement in a platformer is one of the most frustrating things to deal with. Especially when they come from off-screen like that. It's just a good thing that this game does not have Castlevania physics, because in that game you fall like a rock. So this room is actually a room that I actually, there was something really funny about it for me when I did my first playthrough. So you're supposed to drop down here and open up this elevator. But when you enter the room, you see these right here. So I didn't notice the cables in the background leading down to the platform down here, and I thought this was a pit. So what I ended up doing was thinking the game wanted me to essentially do that and flip myself up to get past that area. And I ended up doing that, and then I was like, did I miss a secret down there or something? Like, what was down there? And it's not until, like, my second playthrough that I figured out exactly what was going on down there. Yeah, there we go. That's what I ended up doing. Well, Hooligan, welcome. Sam, I haven't seen you in a bit. I hope you've been doing okay. Glad to have you here. Alright, we're like about to die. So, we're actually gonna do this the proper way instead of the way I've been doing it. Because I have 1 tick of health left. And I survived. There we go. Is this boss time? Get the shuriken. Chat. Level boss. So I guess there's a boss up next? A boss in Bamboo Creek? That's a good one. Well, with the layout, you know, perfectly centered gate, symmetrical lanterns, no scrolling, I just thought, look, you're perfectly free to hallucinate patterns and try to make sense of them, but I believe I told you this place was like your day off. So, well, would you fight a boss on your day off? Come on, who fights their boss on their day off? I love that play on things also because the idea of a boss was supposed to be it's like this hierarchical person that you're tearing down from authority, right? Like that's the conception of a boss in video games. This thing that's overwhelming and powerful and has control over you and you're fighting back against it. And for you to be able to like not fight your boss on a day off is just kind of a hilarious concept. Go punch a boss on your day off in a video game. I mean, we don't fight our bosses on our day offs, that's the point. Sam says, the last few Sundays I saw the stream but was feeling too busy to pop in. I think I'm finally in the last few days of at least the extended cut of my anti-intellectual video. It's about 3 hours long. Ooh, that's exciting though, like, congratulations on getting all that done. This is a Ninja Gaiden inspired game called The Messenger. It's much more accessible than Ninja Gaiden, but yeah, it's in the same kind of genre as Ninja Gaiden. Exactly. Also, secret area. Whee! No boss. Welcome to the Howling Grotto. Here we're going to get my favorite upgrade in the game. We couldn't make that jump up there. That's how the game messes with you, Jalix. Like, it's this expectation that you have, like, it brings tension, like, you're told, oh, nothing's gonna happen. So it's assumed, well, clearly something's gonna happen. Apparently the word boss originated as a word for slave master in, I want to say, a Scandinavian country, but I don't remember which one. That doesn't surprise me, and that's really useful information, Sam. I fell in that pit. That you did. The gap is way too wide. There's no way I can make the jump. This reminds me of a story. A long time ago, warriors of the Squirrel Clan invented a way to soar through the skies, touching on a freedom humans could seldom dream of. Some would mistake them for gods. Incredible. Yeah, whatever, here's a wingsuit. We got the wingsuit. Press and hold A while airborne to glide, deploy over geysers to fly upwards. Need anything? Yes. Upgrade. I'm going to read... Jaguar, if you're there, since you requested, I'm going to read off the upgrades. So we got Strike of the Ninja. Actually, let me confirm Jaguar's here so I can just confirm that they'll get a chance to hear it. Okay, cool. We have Strike of the Ninja. Attack enemy projectiles. Empower your attacks, letting you destroy enemy projectiles. You can even cloud step off of them. Second Wind. Press A in the air while being knocked back to do an air recovery jump. Currents Master. Underwater dash. Press X while swimming to boost forward. What we're about to get is Aerobatics Warrior. Wingsuit attack. Press X while gliding with the wingsuit to attack downwards. That is now acquired. Energy Shuriken, ranged attack. Tap into your mind's key charges, allowing you to throw an Energy Shuriken with Y. Serendipitous Mind, which we do not have. Enemies will sometimes drop a globe that restores 1 key. Prepared Mind, key charges +1, Shurikens pierce 1 target. Healthy sleeping and eating habits give you more energy to use in combat. Meditation. Checkpoints will now restore hit points up to 5, and refill all key charges. Down here we have Karada Plates. Gives you 1 health, and Concealed Arm Guards make you more resistant. Serendipitous Bodies. Enemies will restore, sometimes drop a globe that restores 1 hit point. Cursory Jacket. Another health point where you get Concealed Chainmail Chestplate, making you more resistant. And Path of Resilience, defense up, increasing incoming damage of 2 or more will now be reduced to 1. So our plan is to get Serendipitous Mind, Prepared Mind, and Meditation, followed by Path of Resilience, which is a very expensive upgrade. There's also a locked upgrade here, which we don't have access to, which we will hopefully have access to by the next area. Boss is a corruption of the Dutch word base, and Americans used it as an alternative to master because they didn't want to be associated with slavery, even though they were probably using it as a context associated with slavery if I had to guess. Jaguar, absolutely no problem reading it. I think people downplay the importance that reading something out loud can be for people who experience things differently or learn differently. And so I am very grateful to be able to do that for you, and I should have been on top of that in the first place. So thank you for reminding me. Chat, let's talk about the current area. Welcome to the Howling Grotto. Do people live here? Some cave-dwelling creatures used to a long time ago. They built structures from streams of emeralds, running through the rock, and believed the wind was the breath of a god. Anything I should know? Not really, other than it's gliding time. Well, that wingsuit I gave you. Yeah. Sorry, I don't have enough contextual data. I meant to say something that would make more sense regardless of whether you had already used the wingsuit to ride the wind tunnels. You're being awkward now. What's wrong with you? I gave you something that virtually lets you fly, and you'd rather stay here and chat? Let's find out about the wingsuit. Thanks for the wingsuit. You bet. Don't forget to try it out by pressing and holding A while airborne. Why was it free and not the other upgrades? Because it was mandatory to your progression? You can't save the world if you're stuck in a pit. Will there be more freebies in the future? There's only one way to find out, now isn't there? What do you mean? I mean, you should carry on with your quest, while letting your heart know for sure that this here cursed world and its inhabitants have a lot of surprises left in store for you. Any stories to share? Of course, here's one for you. Let's get ready with some tea for our story time. You're playing Cyberpunk 2077 right now while watching the stream. That's awesome. You know, that's the other thing. I know a lot of people, when they watch streams like this, they want to be doing their own thing. They can't always focus on staring at the screen, so reading it off is, I feel, a way of including people as well, in addition to everything else. So here's our story. There once was a king who had a pretty rough time managing his emotions. Experiencing nothing but extremes, he would always feel either too excited or too depressed, which caused him to never get anything done. Just as he was about to lose all hope of getting his life together, and be a viable ruler for his people, he was visited by a traveling relic hunter. To rid the king of his woes, the relic hunter gave him a magic ring, promising it would make him sad when he was happy, and happy when he was sad. It worked like a literal charm, and the kingdom became very prosperous as a result. When the king passed away, the castle's wizard promptly grabbed the ring to finally try and understand the source of its power. As it turned out, the ring wasn't magic at all. But how could a non-magic ring make you sad when you're happy and happy when you're sad? Any guess? Not really. It had a small inscription that read, "This too shall pass." Whoa, that's deep. It's more than deep. I just gave you the cure for anxiety through a fairy tale. Thanks, shopkeeper. Hey, now, don't push it. So obviously that's not a actual cure for anxiety and depression, but something that one can keep in the back of our minds and remember from time to time, that the moments that we live in are just moments. And that things can change and will change. Sam says, I have difficulty watching a lot of videos without fidgeting in some way. Mostly I play Spider Solitaire over them. Oh yeah, I think that's quite common, actually. I know some people do that when they read books as well. That type of thing, where it's like, they'll tap on the desk, or they'll have to have some sort of like ritual that keeps them in some ways focused. A cure for anxiety, yeah. If only, right? I mean, there are tools we can use to make it a little better, but calling it a cure I think is a little extreme. But yeah, this is the wingsuit. We can float up streams. And this is the thing I've been literally trying to use all game that I haven't had. Because right now, the way it works is I can actually swing down if I'm using the wingsuit. I have a lot more social anxiety than most people because of my autism. Yeah, like, that is definitely a thing that, that we can experience in that way, right? Like social anxiety is one of those things. Autism definitely has a factor in that as well. I know ADHD can also cause a number of anxiety things as well as just having social anxiety. Like there's so many factors that come into things that make our lives a little bit harder. And if we can find ways to mitigate that, it's useful. But to say like, oh, there's a cure for it if we just change our patterns is something I think is kind of ridiculous. Also, what the hell is this room? Brains are tricky, right? I prefer to think of it more as working with ourselves and trying to find things that work for us, rather than, oh, this is a cure for this. I think that language is kind of reductive. Because how one person deals with it is not going to be how another person deals with it. Because like you pointed out, Sam, like where the anxiety comes from can change drastically. It looks a little overwhelming, but watch this. Let's see if we can pull this off and be like absolutely flawless with this. Boom. Did it. It is tempting to want a quick and easy solution to our problems. Jaguar says Spider Solitaire helped a lot back in the day. Spider Solitaire is surprisingly helpful, and I don't think it's recognized how much the little games like Minesweeper and Solitaire affect people, like, and change the way that we do things. And I think there's probably a generation of people that are much more comfortable with things like Spider Solitaire, Solitaire, and Minesweeper because of how they were packaged on the original Windows devices, especially as a tool to either procrastinate or deal with anxiety or fidget in some sort of way when dealing with our realities in the workplace, for example. I know everybody has some, but our issue is the mirror neurons that help most people learn. Social skills are underdeveloped, so most of our social skill learning is like book learning. Oh yeah, I appreciate you sharing all of that with us, Sam. I'm certainly not an expert on autism and by any stretch, so it's always helpful to have people inform us who are willing and able to teach. And I certainly don't find that to be an expectation, given that Google's a thing, but yeah, thank you. It's something I will look more into as well. So far, there's been no effort to really teach social skills in school. Teachers do, but it's not part of a curriculum. Actually, that's a really good point. There should be a conversation about social skills and stuff like that. Also, Mifune, welcome. Glad to have you here. If you'd like a recap of where we've been, because I know you were really excited about this game, I have no issue giving you a small recap about what's been going on. As well as anybody else who may have joined and might not be typing at the moment. Also, what's down there? That little pit of water that we can't access. And another sign of these 3 pillars that we can't seem to get past. So we really haven't missed any plot points, Mifune. Basically, just to summarize and catch everybody up, we went through the Autumn Hills, where we fought the Leaf Monster. We went through the Catacombs after being tricked and thinking we were going to the Forlorn Temple. And we fought the Necromancer there, who has vowed to be good now. We went through the Bamboo Creek, which had the best music possible. And we have ended up now in the Howling Grotto, where we just got our wingsuit. The plot really hasn't been moving much, Mifune. The plot doesn't really move until, I'd say, the next few areas, so you actually made a good time. You did miss a few cool stories that I definitely think you should check out if you have a chance to watch the VOD. But, given everything, you know, you didn't really miss too much. Though, if I do not die once before the next area ends, I have to die to make something happen. Otherwise, we will miss a cutscene. Generally, I don't expect that I will die, but I'll, like, purposefully, like, jump off a cliff or something. Or let myself die so we can get the cutscene. I mean, it might also happen. I might just fall into a pit. And the next area has some, like, really intense ways that you can take 3 damage in one hit, so it's still possible. Death in this game is a normal thing, and it's played, like I said earlier, into the mechanics of the game itself. Mufune said... Oh, so Jaguar said, I totally see what you're saying on a lot of levels. My thing is that there are social issues that create anxiety, etc. in people, and they say it's the individual's fault and problem. Absolutely, Jaguar. And that's blaming it all on the individuals instead of dealing with it as a social problem, I think misses the point. Like I've read several books on like crucial conversations that could easily be taught as part of the core class in high school, if not earlier. That's really fascinating, Sam. If you can share some of that with me, some of those book titles, and just like drop them either in the Discord somewhere or send them to me on Twitter, I would very much appreciate it. I would love to, when I can get a chance, to take a look at those books. Mifune says, to some degree, they included social skills training as part of civics education in the progressive education model. Yeah, but civics hasn't really been taught, at least in a lot of places, in a long time. And I agree that it's a good thing that the progressive models are starting to consider that. And when we talk about how to make places safe and accepting for people, that should be part of the conversation, so that people are able to learn about the different types of ways that people interact with the world around them. And to make things less hostile, because a lot of social spaces are very hostile. There are a lot of good things that schools could be doing. Please contact your government officials and put pressure on them to allow that good work to happen. True, true. The progressive model was displaced due to corporate and evangelical influence. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me, honestly. So we're getting Serendipitous Mind, which allows enemies to drop key charges for our shurikens. And our next upgrade will be Prepared Mind. It's gonna work the ninja magic. True. Oh yeah, for sure. Also, if you're someone not familiar with Sam's channel, definitely check it out. Sam puts out a lot of good videos, a lot of funny stuff. And I'm looking forward to that new video coming out. 3 hours long may it be. Definitely gonna check that out when I can devote some time to it. Even if I have to watch it in a little bit of a block time. Because, you know, that's the other thing, like, you don't have to watch the video all at once. If 3 hours sounds daunting, just take a little bit of time here, a little bit of time there. Just a friendly reminder for myself as well, because sometimes I feel kind of pressured to, like, sit through something and get through it all at once. I think this area in the game, despite it giving the best upgrade, it's probably one of the weakest areas in the game for me, personally. There will be chapters. My plan is to cut a bunch for the theatrical release. That sounds awesome. Here we go. Boss time. Oh, this is one of the better bosses, though. Well, I hope you're up for a challenge. Why? Because something big is up next. What? Well, let's just say you're about to fight someone who understands that the best defense is a good defense. Who? I wish I could tell you. Anyway, your 3 questions are up. Carry on. Since when is there a 3 questions rule? Hey, that's 4 now. So, this boss is actually really fun, and it's also going to subvert some expectations. I hope y'all understand that when I'm fighting bosses, I get a little bit focused. Oof. That did way more damage than it should have. I might die here. Yep. Okay, first death. I don't have to force die. Oh, a new customer. Meet Corbel. What happened? I almost died just there. Strictly speaking, you did. Huh? But how? My name's Corbel. Warble? At your service. I'm the one you never would have met had you had any skills. The gist of it is this. I have a magic ring that allows me to control space and time. So whenever you're about to die, I will appear to stop everything and teleport you back to the latest checkpoint. Okay, what's the catch? Well, for one, you will still feel agonizing pain every single time. Also, I'm keeping track of your debt in my little notepad. So I'll stick around to steal your loot until either we're even or I'm bored. I mean, I can let you die if you prefer. It seems we have a deal. Glad we see eye to eyes. Carry on, then. Notice that Corbel didn't follow us into the portal, but just flew in off screen. Also, now that we have Corbel, we can buy this upgrade. Devil's Due. Reduce Corbel's fine for saving your life by 50%. Which I will probably save up for immediately. Also, watch Corbel when he sees a boss. Nope. Oh, I handled that way better this time. There we go. There we go. Like, thanks for destroying my golem. Well, you attacked first. What are you talking about? I've been digging through these caverns for centuries, and you just randomly engaged. No way. Way. No way. You know what? Fair enough. I see how you could have thought I was a threat. I guess my survival instincts kicked in a little too fast. I understand. It's all good. Look, I'm sorry I destroyed your golem, okay? Don't worry about it. I mean it. I'm sorry. It's alright. Honest mistake. So, how do I get out of here? Oh, I'll just adjust the wind for you. Good luck on your quest. You can leave using the wind tunnel. Again, I don't mind our misunderstanding. Aw, we hurt him. We're the jerks. We're the bad guys. This fight could have been avoided if the messenger had just said hi to this thing first. True. So, I am going to read through the comments, catch up on chat, and then I'm going to run to the bathroom and we can have our conversation for today and get back into the game as well. So let me catch up. Where were we? This game looks really fun, man. It's been so long since I've played any video games. I spend so much time editing my videos. Yeah, it's really important to me to take some time to play like some chill games. It's why I do the chill Sunday streams as a decompression for a lot of the stuff as well, and to share everything with you all. So I definitely feel that, Sam. Zero says I have not, or Jaguar rather says Zero, I have not. I will put it on my list. Alexis just subscribed. Welcome. It's very good. It's about the lack of integrity in schools. It's very good. And that's Zero in response to the podcast. Nice white parents. In my mind, the mentor in this game has Bob Belcher's voice. That's funny. Sam says a lot of my videos have extended director's cuts editions for my Patreons, and I may link that in the Anarchist Terra Discord down below. Yeah, definitely do that, Wahooligan. Sam, I definitely would be fine with that. This boss reminds me of a Kirby boss. This is a Kirby boss fight. It truly was a Kirby boss fight. This fight could have been avoided, yeah, if the messenger had just said hi. Sam says, the stream is starting to overload my Firefox again. It was great hanging out. I'm going to get off and get my shower. Take care, Sam, if you're still there. I hope you enjoyed, and I'm glad to have you here as always. And yeah, Zero, a lot of that could have been avoided if the messenger just said hi. And apparently other people have been harmed by that golem because the golem just didn't see them. And so there's a really interesting dynamic there about that. But I'm going to run to the bathroom super quick, if you all want to have your revolt while I'm gone, and then we can have our discussion while we go through the Quill Marsh. Okay, we are back. Jaguar says rebellion time. Absolutely. The last mutiny we had landed us with a queen. True. You all got the meme queen. Kirby is much more dangerous than he seems. True. Kirby is terrifying. Take care, Sam. Thank you again for coming by. A failed rebellion. True, Jaguar, true. So, for today's topic, I kind of wanted to bring up the fact that a lot of doctors, during the course of this pandemic, have essentially not gotten mental health services. And there's a huge issue going on where doctors especially, but I think everybody in the society, has had some level of trauma from this event. And it's kind of going underreported just how that can affect a medical professional going forward in terms of their need to care for people and to continue to be able to provide care for people. Is this the area where that secret is? I might die here, but I'm trying to check if there's a... Nope, there's a secret area here. I was right. You find that out later in the game. But basically, a lot of doctors are... I hit the spikes too many times. I'm not sure whether the enemy has good aim or you just walked into that one. Mostly I just walked into that. So yeah, a lot of medical professionals have been advocating for doctors to get the care that they need in order to move forward, but there hasn't been enough medical professionals to go around. And a large part of that is about how our society undervalues mental health and mental health professionals, especially in terms of how useful they are to people's healing processes, as well as certain stigmas that go into being a medical professional like a doctor, and not being able to have the ability through stigma of their own industry to get care. A lot of times mental health professionals, nurses, and doctors medical doctors themselves can end up in situations where their careers can be affected and influenced if they choose to acquire mental health services. Because if you're acquiring a mental health service, there's still a stigma attached to that, where, well, maybe you're not of sound mind to be a doctor, because of essentially this obsession that, you know, if you've gotten any sort of mental health service in your entire life, that you're somehow not rational or reasonable. And it's kind of absurd. And so there's this undertreatment of doctors right now that are going through a lot of anguish and trauma that are not getting that addressed and dealt with. Mifune says a lot of people, including people in power, don't want us to ever be able to address mental health as a social problem. Absolutely. So I'm just going to pause the conversation for 1 second. This is an object that you don't find out about until later in the game, but I went off the beaten path and got it now because it's actually frustrating to go get later in the game. You got the magic seashell. So yeah, glad to have that. Legend says the seashell will let its bearer hear the call of the deep. So, we've acquired that. You're not really supposed to know that's there on a first playthrough. Unless you, like, accidentally died in that, or almost died in this spot over here. But we've acquired it already, so we shall move forward. So I mostly just wanted to call attention to that and see what you all thought, and kind of bring that question about these social benefits like Mifune was addressing about mental health. And as Jaguar pointed out, some people say you're making it up or tell you to get over it. But mental health care is probably the most important, one of the most important aspects of our medical care that we're not getting as a society as a whole. And for people who've been witnessing and been in trauma environments where they've watched people die from the pandemic, that leaves a mark, and that is a lasting imprint on our brains. And like Jaguar, I think you were the one who covered it in book club recently. Trauma has a huge effect that changes our brain after a certain amount of times. And there's ways that we can address this medically and start moving in the direction of promoting mental health care that can make this easier so that our brains do not have trauma responses and PTSD does not develop. And we're able to deal with loss and grief in better ways instead of the ways that we've been taught to handle them, which is basically not to handle them. Never mind the fact that we could improve the medical industry dramatically, and make sure that people actually have access to healthcare as a whole, so that maybe next time there's a pandemic, we're able to reduce the number of people who die, which will also then decrease the amount of total trauma that doctors will experience and all of that. Again, all of this is social. All of these factors come together. So, Mifune says, I would call it the sufficiently advanced seashell. True. Cyrus says, it's clear a lack of care for people of mental health is one of the most horrible reemergences of the eugenics ideology in the United States. Oh, absolutely. And it's that kind of idea of, well, if you're not mentally strong, you don't get to survive. And that is absolutely fascism, but it's fascism that promotes the people who are already in power. Like fascism by definition does that. It's just another way it manifests that form of fascism, because at the end of the day, it's those who live the most privileged lives who have the least need for mental health care. If mental health is something that we had to pay attention to as a social issue, then we would have to re-examine society, and there are investors who don't want to change the status quo. Well, there's not a lot of money to be made in mental health care. If a society like capitalism, that is capitalist rather, exists in such a way to want to separate you from your money, then it needs to make you feel bad. It needs to make you feel like you've done something wrong. You have something to be guilty about, something that you need to buy a product to fix. If you're shameful about your body, if you're shameful about the way you act, if you're shameful about your behavior, if you're shameful about the way you behave, here's a product you can buy that'll make it all better for you. Capitalism thrives on us not finding value in ourselves as we are and creating mental health crises. And seeing division in our ranks, and breaking up our social groups, and breaking up the understandings of our network of people, and putting us in divisive positions against each other. That's all to the advantage of capitalism, and it's one of the ways that liberal capitalism ends up pushing us in the direction of fascism. Because as Cyrus pointed out, all of that leads to that kind of eugenicsy mindset, where some people are just not deserving and some people are just not good about that, right? And it always creates an issue where the people who are stigmatized are mentally ill, and the people who are at the top rankings of society are in some ways a perfectly of sound mind. And that breaks down into a conversation about feminism as well, where women are often considered to be crazy or making stuff up or hysterical or any number of the other variants that can be thrown out there to try to reinforce them back into gender norms and stereotypes, which is another key component of fascism. And you start connecting all these dots, and it really does bring the understanding of fascism as a whole into perspective. And it's only through these multiple different lenses that we can see that full picture. And so while we're talking about all of that, looking at how our medical professionals are literally told, you are not reasonable, you are not of sound mind if you seek mental health care. It's not only a detriment to the industry itself, but can a doctor who's not had proper mental health care properly take care of the needs of patients that come into their office? How do you address that if you're dealing with your own stress and anxiety, or you're trying to worry about a patient that might die? When capitalism wants to sell miracle cures to people, maybe you'll be the person they can manipulate a little bit more as a doctor to push a certain drug or product that maybe isn't always necessary all the time, or maybe it is necessary and you decide not to give it for a certain reason. How is this influencing doctors? Is the question I'm really proposing. And these topics around mental health are something that we really do need to be having greater conversations about. I'm going to catch up on comments. It's so true in many ways. It's a huge deal. Medical care providers have gone through conditions that are incredibly traumatizing. We live in a society. Yeah, and every single factor comes into play with that. As we look at all those social factors that I brought up, and so many more that I didn't, we all are influenced and experience trauma through each other. Trauma can often be healed through shared understandings and experiences, through talking about things, working through things in ways that are conducive to safe environments. And so if we're having and experiencing trauma and we then have to go to hostile work environments and we have to go to hostile, social spheres afterwards, that can develop a lot of negative consequences for people to not trust their people around them, and it affects things on a social and societal level. The media actively tries to avoid the economic impacts of mental health issues. Absolutely. Eugenics was especially in the early 19th century, was very powerful. The whole idea of eugenics is one that's absolutely exhausting. And it's all about power. There's also a huge problem with the commoditization of mental health. Zero, absolutely true. A large amount of our media infrastructure is used to erode our self-worth and drive consumption. Absolutely true, Mifune. It's another really great point. Zero says, tons of grifters are selling quick and easy wellness tools that don't really help anyone, but those grifters get so rich. Oh, yeah, and you see that with, people who try to sell you the latest diet fad, people who try to sell you the miracle cure that's going to cure your anxiety and depression. The false philosophers and quote-unquote gurus who try to teach you certain ways, in very cultish ways, actually, to just overcome everything with get well now or get rich now schemes. Or those who literally scam people out of money and say, well, God will heal you if you come into our mega church or something, and if you just pay enough money. And you can prey on people's depression, sadness, anxiety, and fear. And it's a thing that has been done not just in our society, but for hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of years. Don't even get me started on Dr. Phil. Oh yeah, Dr. Phil for sure. Neoliberal culture, or what I call the feel-good industry of neoliberalism. Neoliberalism has definitely mastered this as a tool of oppression. Dr. Phil is a monster, says Zero. Yeah, in a lot of ways, Dr. Phil is someone who theoretically causes a lot of harm to people, and I can't say with 100% certainty the extent of that, but there's every potential that harm could be done by some of the things that he says and does on the air. A lot of these people involved in this could potentially cause a lot of harm. Not to be a jerk, I'm wondering why you're mentioning doctors as opposed to larger medical provider umbrella, i.e. nurses and first responders. So I'm speaking about doctors. Actually, that's a really great point, Jaguar. I'm talking about doctors specifically because the stigma attached to doctors in particular in our society for seeking mental health is generally more recognized. And so I wanted to start off on that point. I did mention nurses and at the beginning, even though I didn't mention the larger medical providers and staff that are witnessing these things, which is a good point to bring up as well. People who work in hospitals and clinics who have had to see this as well are feeling and experiencing trauma, and nurses are often at the front lines of this, even ahead of doctors. And I'm really grateful that you called that out and you pointed that out, that I am giving an unfair attachment to doctors. But I actually was taking this off of a set of articles that I was debating about showing. I don't think I have to, based on the way the conversation's going, that specifically talked about doctors, and that was my reasoning. I hope that is a sufficient explanation. But yeah, nurses and medical professionals and medical providers as a whole are experiencing this. And that's not to mention, Jaguar, since you're bringing all that up, the fact that a lot of mental health professionals hearing about all of this trauma for an extended period of time need their own mental health care, and need to deal with all the things that they're hearing in a certain type of way, right? If you're hearing patient after patient after patient come in, I lost a family member, I dealt with this, I as a doctor experienced this, I as a nurse experienced this, I watched someone die, I dealt with this. That can be exhausting, patient after patient after patient after patient. So what happens when the mental health professionals need mental health care, but they're swarmed and swamped with the sheer amount of people coming in and needing services to the point where they feel like they themselves can't seek it out because they might take a spot from another patient that needs it, and they're supposed to be the ones who can hold it all together. They're the mental health professionals, and that is a mindset that I think a lot of people have. Mifune says Dr. Phil lost his license in Texas due to ethics violations. He's a reality show host masquerading as a mental health advocate. Mifune, I very much agree with your premise. I do think he technically, I don't know about him losing his license in Texas. And in the interest of everything, I do need to say I don't know the full extent of his mental health capacity as a provider. So I'm just gonna throw that out there. Thanks for clarifying. I thought you might have a deeper reason for and wanted to know. Yeah, like I said, it was a jumping off point to the larger purpose. Zero says his show purposefully targets people without the means to seek help on their own and ridicules them, and in some cases has been reported to allegedly put them in dangerous situations. Yeah, that's the thing, like, a lot of this is alleged also, and using language like that, like allegedly, can be very important when describing things like this, unfortunately. Even if they may come out to be true later, we don't want to jump into saying that things absolutely happened for reasons. I know there's a lot of pressure on nurses and first responders too, and a lack of mental health services too, so I was curious. Yeah, no, you had every right to be curious, Jaguar, and to bring that up. And again, I appreciate that. Because of capitalism, he gets to keep doing what he's doing. Yeah. So we can continue this conversation. I'm just going to read off and continue playing the game a little bit while we're moving forward. So I have enough money to buy Devil's Due, which reduces Corporal's fine for saving your life by 50%. So our capitalist greed demon, as they are literally called in this game, will no longer charge us as much because we're paying an upfront fee to reduce his insurance policy. Chat. Current area. Welcome to Quill Shroom March, said no one ever. Yeah, this place is eerie. Tell me about it. I once had to look through the mud for an artifact, gave up pretty quickly. So that's like your first hint to find the seashell. They don't tell you exactly where it is, but like you're supposed to have this idea that, oh, there's something in one of the mud areas, the sand traps, to go down into. What happened to this area? Legend says it used to be ruled by a monstrosity called the Primal Fear. until a brave monk defeated it. Both were very mighty indeed, but with its final breath, the primal fear cursed the monk forever. Cursed? Legend also says that the monk still roams the marsh to this day, turning any trespassers into fungi. Oh great. No one knows whether any of that's true, but yeah, I'd pick up the pace if I were you. I still can't believe you defeated the Emerald Golem. Did you get a chance to understand its motive? That thing wasn't evil, it was just digging away. What? You mean all these messengers that were killed? Mifune, have a lovely evening. Definitely talk to you soon. Hopefully see you on the Discord. Looking forward to that. All the messengers that were killed. So that golem has actually killed multiple messengers along the way. And apparently it was all a misunderstanding. The golem was just trying to dig and do its thing. And the messengers came in, thought it was being aggressive, and decided not to talk. Power of dialogue, everyone. Wow. Any stories to share? Do you have any stories to share? Of course, here's one for you. There once was a messenger who kept asking for stories. Even though he was supposed to move on with his very important quest, he just couldn't get enough. The shopkeeper, living in a void outside of time, was connected to all eras, and so at first was happy to share the myths and legends encountered over decades of traveling. Alas, the messenger never seemed to appreciate the morals or takeaways, so the shopkeeper decided to be done with the stories thing. The end. No way, I liked your stories. Come on. Maybe later. We'll see. So, there we go. Our story there is appreciate stories. If somebody's taken their time to share with you a story, maybe appreciate it and listen. This is honestly the first area in the game where things get a little bit more ramped up in difficulty, and it's specifically designed to do that because this is the first area where they want you to absolutely die. If you didn't die in that golem fight, then they definitely want you to die in this area. At least once. Especially during a first playthrough where you don't have all the upgrades. And spikes do 3 damage, and boy, there's a lot of them. I love the stories too, Jaguar, and it's such a funny exchange though. Okay, come on. There we go. Okay, that was kind of... So yeah, in all of the things that we were talking about, there's a lot that needs to be done to reform mental health care. And especially remove the stigma that goes into everything. The mushrooms are cute. I could see how they're cute. They're supposed to be like a little bit creepy, but I technically find them cute as well. So we're at the last 3 upgrades. They're demonic mushrooms. Ominously cute, true. I think they're more cursed mushrooms, but yeah, definitely. I could do without the cursing. Okay, here, this is an area where they expect you to get very dead if you don't know what you're doing. I have a feeling that little area is like most people's first introduction to Portable. If they've made it this far. Anyone heard of Angela Nagel? I have not. Would you like to inform us about Angela Nagel, Cyrus? To get there at this point in the game? Yeah, I have to ride you up for the flames. That's right. Oh, I can't use the time fairies. Damn. Okay. She was embarrassed by the left when she wrote "Kill all normies" and was literally on Tucker Carlson show, literally reducing the significance of Me Too movement and saying BLM went too far. Once? What is "Kill all normies"? Also, here we go, book time. Or, not book time, story time. Level boss. Be careful, I sense a fallen up ahead. A fallen? It's how we call messengers whose quest came to a tragic end. Their power corrupted by demon magic. Why are you so serious all of a sudden? Because it doesn't get more serious than a rogue messenger about to unleash on you. And with these stories about a monk, if it really is that one monk, what are you talking about? About you meeting your match. Good luck. So this is the moment where you really wanted to die beforehand. And if I hadn't died already, I would have done so. Because we are about to meet another messenger. Well, well, well. It seems we have an intruder. You need to get out of here. This place is filled with monsters. Oh, did my quill shroom scare you? So it's true. Hahaha. Don't like my army? It's a shame, really, since you're about to join it. Wait, that scroll, it couldn't be. No, impossible. Kneel before your queen and receive the curse of quills. Oof. I might lose. This is close. Nope, I lost. A minute, you did not just you did that just because you wanted to see me. That's funny. Whoa, I got wiped on that one. I got too aggressive there. Alright. Let's play it smart this time. Come on, you're glowing like crazy. There we go. Oh, who's that? Now, wait a second. So if you haven't died at this point, Corbel won't show up here, nor will this conversation transpire. Which is a big part of why you want to die beforehand, because if you hadn't, you don't have any concept of the greed demons, and therefore this cutscene gets completely skipped. Now wait a second. Who do you think you are? I'm Quillable. Quillable? That makes no sense. Why have I never seen you before? I was exiled a long time ago when I got cursed along with my messenger. That voice, are you... out of here? You bet. See ya, sucker. So, she's not dead. The, monk we just fought. She was just saved by her green demon. So I'm gonna catch up with chat now. Oh, whoa. Okay. We good? Yep, we're good. It's a book she wrote about online extremist culture by the alt-right. Angela is seen now as a pariah, but was embraced by people like Ben Burgess. I have issues with Kill All Normies because basically it's just a capitulation to the right in terms of extremist behavior. I have no idea why some Sockdem leftists embraced her, to be honest. The look of horror when Quibble, I'm assuming Corbel sees his opponent. Yeah, absolutely, that's funny. Oh, interesting points, King Cyrus. If Angela Nagel is talking about how BLM went too far, I'm sure there's gotta be issues with Kill All Normies. True. We have way too many people on the left that claim they're on the left when they hold libertarian/anti-establishment views, and I have no idea why the left did not see through this crap. Yeah, I get that point. King Cyrus. It's very common to see people who are calling out problems with capitalism as leftist when in a lot of cases they're not. Also, we're stuck again, and we get our last upgrade for this area, I think. Or our next upgrade for this area, at the very least. Congratulations, you made it to the base of the mountain. Almost there. Do you want to know what this means? I don't know. Does it mean you have another dialogue trap for me? What? Oh, so you're just gonna try and steal my character like that? I guess you think you deserve a prize. No? Well, you do. Plus, you will never be able to make the climb without the rope dart. The rope dart? Don't overthink it. Everyone will probably end up calling it the grappling hook anyway. Here. Press B to throw it. Try it on rings, lanterns, walls, and enemies. Need anything? Yes. I will take Prepared Mind, which gives me another key charge. And shurikens pierce opponents. Healthy sleeping, eating habits give you more energy to use in combat. We've almost finished our tech tree. We just have meditation and Path of Resilience left, but they're the two most expensive. About that monk. It is as I feared, our most promising messenger did not die, but was instead cursed forever. She became the Queen of Quills. How did that happen? This is a tale for another time. So yeah, that monk is actually the greatest messenger of all time. And she got taken over. So thanks for the rope dart? Oh, did you think that was an awkward interaction? You could say that. Clearly you never had to tell your boss that your little experiment went wrong, permanently impacting one of your colleagues. Hey, I heard that. Anyway, you can use it on rings, lanterns, walls, and enemies. Go nuts. Do you have any stories to share? Of course, here's one for you. It's a story I once told the guy who hooked me up with music for my shop. There's once was a village struggling to figure out who the werewolf was. People kept dying every full moon, and very gorily at that. One day, a brave young couple decided to venture into the woods. He would be the hunter, and she the bait. As one would expect from such a cliched setting, they got separated and our hunter faced off alone against the beast near the cliff. After 15 minutes of literal uphill battle, the hunter managed to chop the werewolf's paw with his axe, just as it was attempting to choke him. The hunter then ran for his life, severed paw still clutched to his throat. By the time he got home, the sun was up, and he found his fiancée bleeding, also badly wounded. The paw on his throat had reverted to its human form, and that moment he noticed it was wearing a ring he had purchased a few days ago. The end. Whoa, that was spooky. I'm still looking for a title. Any suggestions? What about The Werewolf Bride? Wow, great idea. Really? No, not really. You put the reveal in the title. Also, yeah, don't use your significant other as bait. The rope dart is fantastic. And now we're able to get to, like, a point where you can do all sorts of acrobatics in this game, and it just feels so good if you know what you're doing with them. If you're not just button mashing, but, like, actually trying to focus your movements, the movements end up feeling so, like, crisp and clean. I don't know how else to describe that. Okay. Shop. I need 550 for the next upgrade, so nothing we can really do here yet. Also, we can't access that crystal. I wonder what that's about. And there's a secret save point over there. Which means we have probably another artifact to find. Yep. That's not ominous at all. There we go. I love the rope dart merchants. It creates such a an additional like ability for you to like just do pure acrobatics in this game. And I also love how this game has the wherewithal to not overwhelm you at the beginning of the game with all these abilities, but to gradually introduce them in a way that very much feels natural to increasing your scope of your buttons and how you maneuver the world around you. It really gives you a level to explore each item before it overwhelms you in any way, shape, or form. Looks like we got another boss coming up. Looks like the boss is up. Surely you mean the boss is. Bosses? Bosses. The bosses are up. I need to fight more than one boss here? Well, technically it's more like personal training than an actual fight. What? Don't let me ruin it. Go see for yourself. Okay, let's go find out. Another day, another stew simmering. Oh yeah. Mountain life is a blast, but I miss seeing adventurers pass by. I hear you. Remember humans? You bet I do. They were almost as interesting as obvious foreshadowing. Oh look, a human. Who would have thought? Yo, Kolos, check this little guy out. Whoa, susses. See that scroll? Hey, little guy, are you the carrier? Don't be silly, susses. Everyone knows that's the runner. You're confused, Kolos. I'm pretty sure it's the envoy. No, you've misconstrued, susses. It's actually the emissary. Come on, Kolos. I think I remember it being the courier. Seriously, susses, how about we agree on the message bearer? Can do, Kolos. Want to test the message bearer's sportsmanship? I thought you'd never ask, susses. Let's see what you got, little guy. Cisco is the emissary, true. These two are hilarious, actually. They're actually quite honorable. And defeated. Perry says, hit that big belly. True. Keep your pants. That's funny. Consarnit, Kalos, the postman packs quite a punch. Savvily stated, susses. We like you, little guy. What do you reckon, Kolos? He probably needs to reach the top of the mountain. Seems so, Susses. I say we help out. Confirmed, Kolos. Let's do this. Thanks for the workout, little guy. Now don't move. This might sting a little. Wait, what? Get ready, Kolos. Set, Susses. Hut. Well, I'm hungry now. Shall we snack, Kolos? I just said, Susses, we promised not to eat until our power thistle was ready to be added to the pot. I forgot completely, Kolos. Surely its magical properties will make us even stronger. It will be succulent, Susses. It will be con carne, Kolos. Let's sit by the stew until this thistle is fully grown. Cool. Welcome to Glacial Peak, my second favorite track in the game. I'm finally near the mountain summit. It looks like my adventure's about to come to an end. Clearly you haven't watched the trailer. Pardon? Never mind. Hey, it's cold and slippery out there. Be careful. Do you have any stories to share? Of course, here's one for you. There once was a village settled in a land of ice and snow. Food was scarce, but not as much as heat. Their elders spoke of a lush grove, safe, abundant, with comfortable weather to boot. The only problem was the grove lay on the other side of a permanent hailstorm, which would take weeks to cross. One day, a brave couple left their young boy behind to attempt what the village called the trek. They would scout all the way to the grove and confirm its existence, then come back to the village and lead everyone to a better life. Like all who attempted the trek before them, they sadly and predictably never came back. Over the following decades, that boy grew up with only one goal in mind, to take on the trek himself and find his parents alive in the grove or dead in the ice. Figuring they may have simply been ill-prepared, he trained every day until he was 5 years older than his parents were the day they left for the trek. Then he set off for his own attempt. The hailstorm's first bite wasn't as bad as he thought it would be, but the ice-cold soil slowly worked its way into his bones. After days of walking through the storm without realizing it was all just a metaphor playing out in his troubled young adult mind, he stumbled upon a no-pun-intended chilling sight. His parents, frozen solid in a block of ice. The shock was too strong. He remained there, cursing, pondering, and cursing again, until the cold took him to become a part of the ice block. The end. What? What do you mean, what? No moral, or at least a proper ending? Sometimes stories can be harsh. It might just be the very message they mean to convey about life. You need to think about what transpired and find your own takeaways. There are no wrong answers as long as they ring true to you. Maybe, but this one really felt like a pointless story. And it just might be the case that for you it was. Or you could consider the implications of our adventurer being 5 years older than his parents when he found them. Can you imagine gazing upon those who were your protectors and mentors, realizing they're actually younger than you? Your bearers of truth, the wise ones, those you aspired to be like? A harsh reality indeed. You thought they knew it all, had it all figured out, that they were centered and filled with purpose. Yet there you stand, beholding the one pillar you ever took for granted and used for stability, physically crystallized, yet mentally shattered before your very eyes. Had they really found inner peace already when you knew them, meaning you're the one who missed the mark, or were they simply excellent actors? Food for thought, huh? Yeah, that's enough. Remember, this is all subjective. I shared but one angle. I love that one in particular, because the idea that we often think about people knowing all the answers or having all the solutions before us, and the people that we look up to having having all the answers for us, the people in our lives who've been our mentors, the people who trained us. And there's always a moment of recognition when we see ourselves either not connecting with the people who've been the people that we looked up to, or meeting your heroes and finding out they're not who they are. And that moment of shock. But I also love that story because there's so much focus on this one person to find out the truth of what happened, that they didn't live out their own life. And there's so many other ways you can subjectively spin those stories to learn about things. And the idea that we can't write our own stories and come up with our own morals from things is absurd. And I actually like that this story is meta enough to call all of that out and to bring it into focus and question. And there's something meditative about these different stories and ideas. Also back to the awesome music in the cold. But also, that's kind of preparing you for something. Within the focus of this game. Also, I agree with you, Jaguar. This music is extremely powerful. There's definitely a sense of, like, the adventure nearing its end, and, but the peril that is right in front of you, like that last hurdle. Absolutely. I completely agree with you there, Jaguar. A lot of the stories very much in this game have a meta sense of talking about stories themselves and gaming and how we can tell stories, while at the same time being messages about life that we can think about. Even if we don't necessarily agree with the morals the shopkeeper's bringing up, the inclusion of those things and getting people thinking about meta text and stuff like that is really, really awesome as far as I'm concerned. A while ago I had a project and I didn't know how to do it, so I asked my boss and he told me I had to figure it out because he didn't know either. Yeah, a lot of people pretend like they have the answers to everything, and most people don't. We're all kind of just trying to figure this out as we go and work with what's come before us. Also, that's ominous right there, this frozen crystal here. Kind of reminds you of the story a little bit. Like, I just love that this weaves stories together so well, and it really makes it feel like you're part of a world that's bigger than just the messenger. And that apparently the developers actually have talked about the potential of Kickstart. I think they did Kickstart and are actually producing another game set in the same universe. Also, hey Perry, welcome. I don't think I said hi before, even though I did acknowledge you, so sorry about that. I hope you're doing well today. He was pretending he knows more than he does. True. Actually, if you follow The Next Generation and Voyager, you find out how Q is not all he's cracked up to be. Like, if you follow Voyager especially. I am definitely glad to hear you're enjoying the game, Perry. Oh look, it's that enemy that we fought once before. Also, I can't believe how good this music is. I know I've just been like talking about the music so much in this game, but seeing Q's embarrassment when Cisco clocked him is the best. True. Nope, nope, nope. Okay, almost fell off of there because of ice physics. Oh, I love this room. This section is so cool. Just like the platforms falling behind you. Harry says, I've had more than a couple of Q friends growing up. I think we all have. There's also so much emphasis on pretending like you know what you're doing. And not being able to question and say, hey, I actually have no idea what I'm doing here. Can we talk about this? Oh, looks like we're at the peak of the mountain. That's ominous. No music. No shopkeeper. Let's try to go in the wardrobe. You really thought it would be that easy. I told you already, the cabinet's off limits. Please stop. We're not doing a special edition of the cabinet, Rand. I mean it. Don't be that guy. You're being that guy. Fine, be that guy. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Crazy how countdowns give you the feeling something's about to happen, huh? But yeah, I got nothing. If you're hoping for something special, just give up the cabinet thing already. The cool stuff's up ahead. Did I ever tell you about the guy who stayed late on a Friday night and started writing optional dialogue to add comedic value for those who will bother looking? Imagine reading his ramblings. By the way, if you feel like the cabinet thing's overdone at this point, I agree, but it's totally on you for keeping on trying to open it. Seriously, you can stop this right now. I mean it, you have the power. Only you can put an end to this optional bit. Which is good, because I got things to do. If I repeat the same thing 3 times, will you think I'm out of flavor text? We're done here. We're done here. We're done here. I can't believe you. Why won't you move on to something productive? Like, maybe advancing the quest you're supposed to care about. I'm not gonna lie though, when the time comes, opening the cabinet will blow your mind. And I'm confident in saying this, even though I know you'll be expecting a surprise. So, how do you surprise someone who's expecting a surprise? With a meta plot twist, that's how. Now, if you want to know what it is, move on already. I promise it's the fastest way. You're not opening that until the script says you get to anyway. Okay, I'll start looping back to the beginning now. You really thought it would be that easy? I told you already, the cabinet's off limits. I thought you would give up when it looked like I was looping. If you keep doing that, you'll have to sit through a boring tirade. It'll be boring and philosophical, and I'll even remove your ability to skip what I'm saying. Fine, here's some insights from Jordan the Wise for you. Life is going to come at you hard, so there are a few things you should know. Most important of all is realizing that you have something to offer the world. But in order to do that, you first need to sort yourself out. Lending your ear to the lessons contained in stories of old is not a bad place to start. You see, as human consciousness grew in knowledge, it equally grew in arrogance. We seem to be at this point where the value of stories is lost on us all, not really caring about morals anymore. We are simply looking to be entertained. But there's power in our subconscious is by no means hindered by our intellectual pride. Stories send clear message to our being, and when told properly can offer guidance in how to live our lives, impacting us in ways we sometimes don't even notice. In fact, recurring themes more often than not represent archetypes and contain lessons on how to or how not to behave. Consider dragons for a moment. Fantasy stories always seem to have them hoarding treasure. Not coincidentally at all, two of the biggest innate fears in mammals are fire and reptiles, so dragons are really a metaphor representing that which you fear the most. Now, why would an immortal fire-breathing reptile care to sleep on a pile of gold? The answer can be read between the lines. The treasure you seek is guarded by your greatest fear. Don't get me wrong, the pile of gold is as much a metaphor as is the mighty beast that doesn't even exist. Find your dragon and slay it. Then your treasure will be revealed. This is the wisdom storytellers of old were trying to convey, only they didn't have the scientific method, a framework by which to structure arguments, or even a high IQ audience. I don't like that particular framing and line of reasoning there, but we're going to ignore that for the moment. The lesson isn't any less important or relevant today, however. That which you most need to discover within yourself is hidden where you least want to look. Now ask yourself, why were you so curious about my cabinet? Are you a very conscientious person, adamant at leaving no stones unturned? King Cyrus, have a great night and thank you for coming out. Enjoy your evening with your partner. Right, Perry, this is why I love this game. Or have you not mastered your insecurities and fear of missing out is what's really driving you at this moment? That's a big one for a lot of people, actually. The fear of missing out can often put us in a perspective where we feel pressure to do things that we don't really want to be doing, but we're just afraid of missing out on an experience that's supposed to represent part of our life. Oh my goodness, we missed out on this aspect of childhood, therefore blah 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 blah. And you can extrapolate on that. But the fear of missing out is something that definitely influences a lot of our decisions, as is the perspective of needing to complete things or find every single detail. Maybe you're simply hoping to get a laugh out of some unexpected one-liner. Because I'll admit, we both know I could kill the mood right now and tell you about a depressed clown once attempted to lift his mood by eating bowls of confetti. What I'm getting at is, regardless of your motive here, you have clearly demonstrated curiosity and faith that the world holds surprises for those who take